You will go to jail if you call it summer before then.
I am bleeping nothing. I'm over it.
Stabby, like, enemies having to work together.
I'm gonna read it this summer, if it's the last thing I do.
Hi there, welcome to the Reading Queens podcast. We're excited you're here to join us for another episode. We are here to talk books and random tangents as we do. Very excited about this episode because I love adding books to my TBR. So here we are. I'm Valia. Hello.
Hi, I'm Rose.
I'm Hanna.
And I'm Kay.
Yes, and as you can tell by our title, we're sharing our top 3 books we're reading this summer. So for those of us who don't make TBRs, this is an interesting podcast episode. But anyway, we're going to talk about it. But first...
Do any of us make TBRs?
No, I don't think so.
I really don't.
Yeah,
I think y'all know that.
No, these are like books we assume we'll read.
I make like a loose one, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I know books I want to read in the future.
Yeah.
I just
There you
don't
go.
know when.
Right. So we're going to make it specific to summer, okay?
Okay.
No.
Are we going to check back in later sometime? Like,
I'm
did
going
you
to
read
check
any of
on
these
you.
books?
This is homework, okay?
Okay,
I'm
okay.
just kidding.
Ma'am. I got like 3 months though, right? It's
It's
not
true.
even summer here. Canada does not count this as summer yet.
When is
I
summer?
mean,
Yeah, summer isn't till June 21st.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah, legally it is not.
legally.
I don't officially.
You will
There's
go
laws.
to jail if you call it summer before then.
Exactly. I'll find you. No, it's always the thing, like, our kids are out of school here in July and August.
Oh, okay.
And I think, like,
That makes sense.
a lot of Americans, you guys have, like, June and July off, right?
June, July, and August.
Most of
And
August. Most of August.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, most of August.
so you're like, when do you even go to school? We don't know.
Never. No.
Hello, American education system. We know this, okay?
We don't need to go to school.
Actually, I think we figured this out once because I was asking about it, and I'm pretty sure our summer break is only like 2 weeks longer than yours, which I
Right.
was surprised. I thought it would be longer, and it wasn't. So
Longer?
yeah,
I just
don't
want everybody to know that apparently there's construction in my garage, which is right behind here.
Oh, I
And-
can't hear it.
Really?
I think
Okay,
you're
good.
know. Yeah, I can't hear it either.
I was like, it sounds really loud because I think my dad is changing like the water heater or something, and he apparently doesn't realize that I'm recording right now. So anyway,
See,
moving on.
I feel like we should warn
I don't
everyone
hear
that
anything.
Okay, good.
All 4 of us are sick today.
Yes.
And so the chaotic energy is a little...
Extra chaotic.
Muted.
Yes.
Slash
We-
extra
well,
chaotic.
There
I
you go.
feel
Or
like
both.
we're more spacey but less hyper. We'll see what happens.
I don't know.
Also, I am losing my voice. This is Kay, by the way. You know, it actually was doing worse this morning, but then it started doing better. So I was like, yay, it's going to be fine. And now it's kind of getting worse again. So we'll see how it lasts throughout the podcast.
So if you're really quiet by the end,
We know she's still here,
okay.
just present, not talking.
Well, I might do some coughing, so I'm going to try really hard to not cough, but it just might happen.
This is how much we love you guys,
Yeah.
all of you
we're here
listeners.
for you.
You're welcome.
do
We
this
should all
for
be
you.
sleeping right now, okay?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Anyway, anything else exciting going on in your life before we dive into the books conversation? Besides being sick, because, you know, that's super exciting.
Well, I
I
just
mean-
binged watched a show over the weekend.
Which one?
What?
What'd you watch?
Guess what it was?
Was it
Wait,
Stranger
you guys don't
Things?
know. Of course it was Stranger
Okay.
Come on. I was like, that was a joke. Guess. Come on. We all know what it was.
Well, I haven't watched it yet, so don't spoil it for me.
I did. Okay.
Okay, I have to say, they did not release all of it, and I did not
Yeah.
know that
Oh,
until
is it
we
like
were
half of
already
it?
into it. They did the first 7 episodes.
Yeah, it
and
was
then
part
they're gonna
1.
release
Yeah.
the last 2 in July
Uh-huh.
1st.
Just 2? That's
Yeah,
weird.
it is weird.
But the
They're gonna
last
be
2
really long.
Yeah, but the last
What?
2 are like 2 hours each or something weird.
Yeah, they're going to be very long.
Because it's the
Are they
end. Is
finishing
this
the show?
Yeah, this is the
No.
last.
There's one
there
more
was another
season.
season?
There's one
Oh.
more
Yeah,
season.
there's going to be 5, yeah.
That
So
is
Anyway.
Netflix does what it wants.
Pretty
Is
much.
what we
Or
learned
maybe
from
the
this.
Duffer Brothers do what they want. Who knows?
Maybe.
It's true.
I did not watch season 4 because I did not watch seasons 1 through 3. And probably never will.
I
that's
have
funny.
to say, they always do this thing. Well, okay, I don't do we? This isn't a spoiler.
Well,
Say it. Say it.
Don't spoil it for
I was
me.
just gonna say it is like I am not into horror.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've talked about this before. I do not like horror, and always the first few episodes of each season, I'm like, this is too much for me. And then it kind of gets to a point where it's like, okay, I can handle this.
Oh, okay.
And then I really like it. But yeah, even like this season, especially season 4, actually.
Yes.
Wait, is this season 4? Season
Yeah.
3. Season 3
season
was
4.
the one that was like, I don't know if I can keep watching this.
Oh.
And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, so.
I feel like the
Interesting.
horror right now in this season is more than the others.
Well, probably because they're older too. So
Yeah,
I
they
feel like
really-
every
Yeah.
season they've like upped it because the kids have grown.
Yeah, I do feel like
Yeah.
it wasn't really horror. It was more just like intense. Like it wasn't scary. It was just like really high adrenaline.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I do feel like with each season it's gotten more horror-esque.
Yes.
It's just been,
Which is
That's
cool
what I've
for me.
heard.
Not my
But
So good.
I know, I'm
So
excited.
good.
I did see that one of like the old songs, I can't now I'm spacing on the name of who it was, but Make a Deal, I think, like shot up #1 in iTunes. And like I haven't watched the season obviously, but I got so excited because I was like, yay, new generation. How do you not know this song? But like I'm excited that all these people are like listening to it now, which happens every time Stranger Things comes out because they use, you know,
Yeah.
older songs and stuff. And so then I get like really excited because then you just hear like covers of older songs and them like coming out. It's always like the soundtrack is so good on that show.
Yes, I love the music. I have to say another thing, changing the subject. I also I finished binging Bridgerton. Finally. And if you listen to the episode where we talked about Bridgerton and I was so on the fence about everything, remember? Oh my gosh. Okay, because I didn't like
Yes.
the vibe with the sisters and Anthony trying to like, you know, I didn't like it. I didn't like the whole sister thing. However, I loved the end. I was so like happy that everything came together, and I didn't know how it was going to come together, but obviously it did, and it was good. I loved it.
I just started watching season 2 because I've been waiting for my husband to go back on night shifts. He was off for like 3 months, like just when it came out.
Yeah.
And, you know, and we have our shows we watch together. So I was waiting, I'm like, I'll watch that one later. Luckily, I don't really care about spoilers because I feel like the spoiler is that they get together.
I mean, it's
You
a
know?
romance
Romance,
story,
yeah.
so
It's like, yeah.
So
How do you
it's no
spoil
big
that?
deal. It's not like I've been like trying to avoid spoilers like you do with some shows. So, but it's fine. I've watched one episode, 2 episodes. I don't know. I'm also trying to finish, you know, writing a book. So,
I know, right?
but it is fun, and I did just start it. I have been binging not a TV show. I was sick yesterday, as I am today, as we mentioned, and I spent most of the day in bed. And a couple days ago, I posted on my Instagram asking for more webtoons to read. And somebody told me to read Purple Hyacinth. And guys, it is like, I am obsessed. I read 50 episodes yesterday,
Oh, wow.
Wow.
which is like a third of the total
That's huge.
content so
You
far.
must have really loved it.
I love it so
Yeah.
hard. It's like a police procedural kind of thing with like a girl who's a cop and a guy who's an assassin.
Ooh.
And they have to like join together to like take down the big bad guy. And it's kind of historical, but I think the webcomic artists just like do what they want. It's got like Edwardian vibes, but also walkie-talkies and like, I don't know. And the girl can tell if people are lying.
Oh, okay.
So it's like the only magic so far is that she can always tell. And you can tell in the webcomic because like they make it go, the text is red whenever they're lying, so you can tell when people are lying or
that's
people
cool.
are telling the truth.
That's
That is
cool.
And the like stabby like enemies having to work together but actually, you know, super chemistry thing is off the chart. It is so good. I think you might like Valia. I don't know
It
if you ever
sounds
read
really good.
web comics, but it's like there's many sparring incidents.
Yes.
Some because they're trying to hurt each other. Some because they're practicing. There's the whole like, oh no, you got injured. Let me help you with your.
Awesome. It's hitting all my ids. I'm reading
It
this.
is so many of your ids. I recommend. Yeah, I'm obsessed. I don't think I've liked a webcomic this much since Lore Olympus. So
Wow.
Interesting.
I'm reading
Okay.
it a ton.
Cool. I need to get
It's
into
like,
web.
My kids are like,
proteins.
"Are you still reading that webcomic?" I'm like, "Shh, I'm sick.
I'm sick.
Let me have this."
That's funny. When I'm sick, I can't watch or read anything new. Like I've been reading Stilling Infinity by Alison Noel, which I'm like so excited that I got an arc for, because Alison is like, I think we talked about it on a podcast, but she was like her book was one of the inspirations for me to start writing young adult in the first place. And so she was one of the first people I met when I like became published. So it's like full circle. Anyway, it was like really cool.
Nice.
But the whole, like, I can't concentrate enough to like focus to be like enjoying or not enjoying, you know what I mean? Like I have like mutual feelings about it, and I'm like, okay, I probably shouldn't read it right now. So I've been watching Bones because it's one of my comfort shows. And so I was like, I just have this on. But when it's mostly just listening to it, because when I have a migraine, I can't look at anything. So it's just their voices talking about dismembered bodies. It's fine.
Well, it's a very like bantery show though.
Yeah.
And I feel like shows with good banter you can just listen to.
Yeah. And I mean, I've seen it plenty of times that I like know, which case
The video's
is next.
just like playing in your head.
Yeah.
I have never seen an episode of Bones.
It's
You
good.
should
I
watch
know, I hear
it.
it's so good, but I feel like I'm too late.
I didn't finish it.
No.
Though. Oh,
You're never too
whatever.
late. It's so
Although
good.
I've never finished it either, actually.
I honestly, the last like 2 seasons just petered
That's how
off
it is
for me a bit.
that's how every TV show is. They just run it to the ground till nobody's watching it anymore.
It's true, especially when it's got like such high ratings as that. They're
Yeah.
like, let's just keep going forever.
Yeah, when there's no more story left, they just kind of. So I mean, it's not their fault. Every TV show does that. So just give it the ending that you want to give it, and
I feel like I was satisfied with the ending. I mean, I think I could have used like a little bit more of like the romance part, because like it was
That's
such a
what
big thing.
It was for me. The will they or won't they was so strong for
It really
so long.
was.
And then when they finally got together, I was like,
Oh, see, but I like
Spoiler.
that.
Spoiler,
I
they
people
together.
always talk about how like a show always ends when people get together, because like that's what you're here for. I was like, if it's a well-written show and well-acted show, they can be together and still have like the chemistry and whatever,
agree with
you know?
that.
I
just
agree,
didn't
but
think
very
they
few
did it.
shows actually do it.
Yeah.
well. That's the thing.
That's
I
the-
think
yeah.
How I Met Your Mother is like, to me, one of the only shows that has such a good. And maybe it's because they're not the main characters, but it's like once they get together, you still love them. You're still invested in their like character arcs and stuff. There are very few shows I feel like that are like that.
It's true. It's really hard to do, but I feel like it's because the writers and everybody, they just rely so much on the will they, won't they? And so when they get to they will, it's like
It's like
what
they
do we
don't
do
know how
now?
to maintain tension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They don't know how to give them conflict if it's
Yeah.
not that
Or else
conflict.
they give them too much
Yeah.
conflict.
Brooklyn
remember-
Nine-Nine is one of my favorites when they
Yes,
got
they
together
did
and they
so
still did
good.
so well.
Yeah,
with
see,
that.
I haven't seen that one.
But the
Gotta
will
get
they
with
or
it
won't they
here.
was not like the driving force of that show, which is maybe part of the reason why.
Yeah.
Like some of those shows you only watch pretty much for the will they won't they. Like that's like their only character arc that they're carrying through. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine had like so many character arcs.
Yeah.
I felt like that maybe helped.
Yeah, which is one.
I don't know. Yeah, I always think, because I write romance, so it always, and they're standalone. So by the time they're done, they're together. But it does make you think, like, it's fun to have book series too, where after they get together, like, I love the like them against the world together thing, right?
Yeah.
Where they like
I
have each other's
also-
back and like.
I hate it though when they get together, but then there's one series I won't name, but then they just give them like problems. Then they're like having
Yes.
conflict.
Oh,
it's like, no,
I
you already
know.
gave them the happy ending. Don't take that away.
Okay, I will
just
name
to
a
add more
series.
conflict.
Name it.
It's so
Name it.
stupid.
No, one of the things that I think Hannah and I were talking about this, but the Mortal Instruments, like the first 3 books, I was like satisfied where they were, everything, and then she wrote more books, which made the like all the couples
yeah.
and stuff into these like conflicts that
Get more
didn't
drama.
that didn't need weren't necessary, except for the fact that the readers wanted more in the world. I was like, well, then just like give them different series. Like, don't ruin what you did in the
Yeah.
original trilogy to make it like conflict. Anyway, so I stopped reading those books, but
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hate
adding
that.
on to something plotted as a trilogy is like. It's a tricky thing to do. She should have. Well, I don't know.
I don't know. We can't exactly.
Let's not get
this is
into it. I have mentioned I broke up with her a while ago.
Oh, yeah, which is fine. That's okay. Like, readers are allowed to break up with writers.
And I respect people still liking her, but
well, and some people honestly live for the drama. You know what I mean? Like, and for everything that one person hates, there's somebody who loves it. So
I mean,
we all complain about this, but maybe you love that kind of thing, and if you're the kind of person who loves it, then awesome.
Exactly.
Now you know what book to read.
Yeah. If you want more, anyway. Okay, so let's talk about books that we're reading this summer. This was like a huge tangent that we did not plan on, but I love it.
This is how it's going to be today.
It's how it's always, like, it is how it always is now on the podcast, and that's why, like, I love it so much, because honestly, like, I don't have to plan for us to have conversations. We can just talk, and it's great. But yeah, so instead of coming up with books we already read for this podcast, we're sharing books on our TBR for the summer. And I love these kind of videos. Like, I'll watch like TBR videos on YouTube, on Book Talk, because I want to know what people are reading. So this is really fun for me. But we're going to start off with Rose telling us her first book on her list, and then we'll go around the room.
Okay, y'all. I have mixed emotions about this book. All right. And I have it, and I'm going to show.
She's showing it to us.
Mixed emotions about it if you haven't even read it yet.
Well, so here's the thing. It's Midnight Sun.
Oh, okay.
And it's
by Stephanie Meyer.
By Stephanie Meyer, and it's the.
I have mixed emotions too.
It is that
I'm not reading it.
It is the Edward perspective of Twilight, and so it's on my TBR. It's been on my TBR since it came out because I bought it right away because I was so excited to read it, and then I just had all these things get in the way, and so. I'm going to read it this summer if it's the last thing I do. And I don't even care if I'm going to like it or not, but I'm going to just confess a teeny bit here because I started it. And y'all, I'm having a really hard time liking it.
Oh.
And I feel heartbroken. And it's like I'm on page 100. I'm on page 100 and you know the scene or the part where Edward saves Bella when the van's going to crash into her?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, so for like 100 pages, he's agonizing over stopping the van. It's 100.
Okay.
It's like, I'm done with this. I'm done with this scene. Let's move on to the story. Anyway.
Is Penny also done with the scene?
Can you hear her?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I need to get my husband to get her out of here. So anyway, this is on my TBR, and I'm going to finish it no matter what because I have to, and I'm going to do it. And
we believe in you, Rose.
You can do
it.
So that's my book number 1 on my TBR.
That's really funny to me. Although I'm not really surprised because, like, I don't know, Edward is like emo, and like being in his head for that long, like it would
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Maybe
it would have been better if she did like a dual point of view or something like that if we were going to have that.
Valia?
No. Mm-mm.
So, yeah, I wanted him to be more like vicious and evil. Instead, he's just completely emo. And I'm like, no.
He's sparkly. No.
Yeah, I'm like, no. It's just ruining so much for me. Okay.
It's taking away the mystery of
it is.
Yeah.
This is why I like writing single point of view books. I feel like it's, well, I mean, you can add tension in other ways too, but my favorite way to add tension is when you don't know what the other person is thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One of my favorite ways, I guess.
It's true. There's only very specific books that I like dual point of view, and it's usually not fantasy.
Right. I like it in romance.
Yeah, like good
contemporary romance.
Yeah, romance can have a good one. And then also in romance, they don't have it like every other chapter. It's like you'll have like 3 chapters from her and like 1 chapter from him or whatever. And I like that.
Depends on the author.
Right, it depends on the author. But the ones that I like are the ones that are not balanced because
I'm glad to hear that because that's how I wrote
I
my
know.
book.
I will say I have had a few readers reach out to me and be like, I love your book so much, but are you ever going to do it with the guy's perspective? I would love to know what's going on in his head. And I'm always like,
No.
You don't have to read my books. Go read someone else's.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. I actually had a reader reach out to me regarding Thunderbird Academy, and it's the book that got her into reading, so she was like, really just made my whole life, kind of thing. But she was like, are we ever gonna get like Aiden's point of view? And I was like, I mean, never say never, but she didn't talk to me the way Maddie did. Like I did. She's like, okay, I
maybe
understand.
Maybe a good like short story.
I have a couple of short story ideas for them, just to like 5 years later kind of thing, to see where they're at. And with my new series, I could totally do that. But I'm always like, I don't know. I wrote Guy's point of view one time and it was not fun for me. So I'm like,
yeah,
maybe.
I did put a bonus chapter.
You did, yes.
With the love interest in my hardcover. So there you go.
So you got to get the hardcover.
Yeah.
I want that.
It was good. So it did work.
Okay, good. That's good. It actually did give. It's funny because reading it, I don't think people realized the hints that were in it. You learn a lot more about him
neat.
Too, so,
Ooh.
Anyway.
Yeah. Side note. Anyway, Hanna.
Yeah.
First, I have another tangent because I'm sick.
Okay, cool.
But this is just my excuse today. But talking about Edward being emo, my 12-year-old came home from school the other day and was like, some of my friends were doing their hair funny and saying they were emo, but they seemed far too cheerful. But I don't know what emo is, but I don't think they should be so happy. So then I was like, oh, honey, let me teach you about emo. And I was like, we listened to music all evening, and I was trying to explain the difference between like emo and punk, and then my husband is now teasing me for listening to emo again, which is just like it was 20 years ago when we were young. So, and then I felt like really, emotional about feeling old, which also I felt like those true emo feel.
There you go.
I'm like, my life is slipping away. I'm just gonna go listen to something corporate and sleep. Anyway, first book on my list is Book Lovers by Emily Henry.
I'm so shocked.
I don't have like a deep reason for this. I read her other two books and I liked them, and so I'll probably read this one too. She's, I think, one of the better like rom-com authors out there right now. Rom-com-ish, they're rom-com.
I would say rom-com.
She gets pretty deep though. I don't know if I would have called Beach Read a rom-com. Like it had a good like rom-com setup, but it also had a lot of like dealing with grief and moving on and blah blah blah. But I think she's great. And I haven't read it yet because I am cheap and I'm waiting for the library to get it in. But I assume they will this summer.
Book Lovers is everywhere right now. Like, I cannot go anywhere without seeing it.
Bookish people love books about bookish people.
It's true.
It is a fact. That is part of the reason why in my first book I wrote my Belle character from Beauty and the Beast so bookish. Because I'm like, bookish people love bookish people.
Yep.
And I am no exception.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I literally know nothing about it at all. I was just like, Emily Henry wrote it, and it's about book people. So I'm going to read it, and I'm going to like it.
There you go. I feel like book people are her people, though. Aren't all of the other two books have book people in them, too?
I'm trying to remember.
Well, one of them at least have the authors, right?
The first one, Beach Reads is, he's a like thriller author and she's a romance author, and they decide to trade and write each other's books. It's such a good setup. And then the second one, she's a travel journalist.
Okay, so still writing, but just different. Yeah. Okay. I was trying to think.
And I'm almost always annoyed by authors writing authors. I think it's ridiculous most of the time. I'm like, do we have nothing else? And often they kind of glamorize being an author too. I'm like, is this what your life is like? Because I doubt it. But I do not get annoyed by Emily Henry for this. So
that is high praise, actually.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, Kay, what are you reading?
All right. The first book on my list is The Traitor's Kiss by Erin Beatty. I know nothing about this book. All I know is the cover is awesome. It has like this dagger and these flowers, and let's just say that like I was in this.
I'm looking it up.
I love the title.
Yeah, the title's good. I'm like, now that I understand titles and book covers so well, like, I don't need the book description, okay?
Yeah.
All I need is the cover and title, and I know if I want to read the book or not, you know? And I actually have had this one on my TBR for a while, but I've just never gotten around to it, but I'm very excited about it. It's kind of an older one. Not, like, very old, but
Not a new release.
yeah, the last book in the trilogy, I believe, came out in, like, 2019 or something, so so it's a
I
couple
love the
years.
cover, man.
Right?
Yeah, I just looked it up too. I was like,
Gorgeous.
So
It looks like a very K cover.
yeah,
It does,
right,
yeah.
exactly. And the third book, where I don't remember which book, one of the books has a crown on the cover too. So
Yes.
that's for me.
And one of the covers is pink. So
Yes,
I feel it's got everything you need.
It's got all the points.
this is my series, man. I just know it. So, okay. So here's the story of how I found it. Once I was in this Facebook group, I think for books, you know, and someone posted a picture of the cover, and that was it. The end. I was like, I need to buy this.
And that is the end.
So, anyway, yeah, that's mine.
I love that. I think I have that on my TBR in one of my Kindle library. I just never read it because it's what happens when it goes into the Kindle library. It's like
I know
it never comes back out.
I read more Kindle books than print books by far, but I find that when I buy a print book, I don't forget I have it.
Mm-hmm. True.
That's the advantage of having it on the shelf. It just like silently judges you for not reading it, whereas my Kindle books do no such thing.
Yep.
They just
Basically.
gone.
Well, maybe I'm gonna have to get that book in print, hardcover or something, so I don't
Remind you to
forget.
read it.
Plus,
We'll
it's
remind
beautiful.
you in 3
Beautiful,
months.
yeah.
So the first book that I want to read this summer is What We Harvest by Freistott. I don't know. I did not say that correctly. Anyway, I'm almost positive it's a debut novel. I actually found it in Barnes & Noble, and I started reading it. I read like the first 100 pages while I was at Barnes & Noble. And it is, the cover is gorgeous.
Yes, it is. I'm looking at it.
That's what pulled me in the first place, because I literally went to Barnes & Noble to look at covers because I wanted to do cover research, but I didn't want to do it in front of the computer. And it is about this small town that basically gets sick. So it's not, I mean, it's a pandemic kind of thing, but I'm almost positive it's like a magical thing that we find out about later. But it's about this girl whose parents go missing in the beginning of the book because she's like trying to take care of the farm and they go help somebody else. And then so she calls her ex-boyfriend to come help her because everything basically rises and falls on their crops. And so it's like a crops town. And then shenanigans happen. And I'm almost positive it's a zombie book too. So it like...
Wow.
It hits all the points for me. And the writing was really, really good. So like the first 100 pages the writing was really, really engaging and like really fast paced, which is what I like. But the cover is beautiful, but you wouldn't think it's a zombie book. But I'm like 99.9% sure it's a zombie book from what I read.
Well, if it starts with a sickness,
Yeah.
that feels like a zombie book.
Yeah. So
it's contemporary? What is it?
I'm thinking it's like magical realism, maybe. I don't know, because the setting is very contemporary. It's like a small
Okay.
town.
If it's a zombie book, is that magical realism? I feel like that's more
is that-
science fiction.
Maybe
than
science
magic.
fiction. The cover
zombies
is
just-
like
You could have
fantasy
magic
looking.
zombies.
That's true.
Zombies are usually science fiction. I
I'm
feel
just
like.
saying, I read a book recently with surprise zombies, and it was
With surprise
a
zombie.
fantasy romance, and I did not expect the zombies to come, and then I couldn't sleep that night, because you know me and zombies.
Wait, what book is this?
Um,
Is that a spoiler if you tell us?
No, The Elf Tangent by Lindsay Broker.
Oh,
Huh.
okay.
I was like,
Interesting.
it's fantasy romance with a nerdy heroine, like it's everything I like in life, and I like Lindsay Broker, but Lindsay, why did you put zombies in it?
Why did you?
It's fine, it's
Interesting.
fine, but they are magic zombies.
Yeah, so the cover
that's
of the
point.
book looks fantasy, right?
Yes,
Okay,
it does.
Tell me again who this is by.
What's
sorry, I'm
the
looking at
title?
What We Harvest.
Oh,
And
that
it's-
sounds like zombies.
And it's Well, I
Sounds
mean,
like a zombie title.
really? Because it's about.
I don't know. The term harvest is like very like ominous in a book title.
Yeah.
Yeah, and science fiction.
Yes.
Like
UK
science
aliens
fiction.
harvesting people.
It might be fantasy.
Okay,
don't
so
know.
here's a quote. Whether you like zombies,
ominous
romance, ancient secrets, or a creepy sci-fi read, What We Harvest has got something for everyone to enjoy.
Okay, there you go. That's what the book's about.
Boom.
The end.
I like romance, but the rest of it I'm gonna have to give a hard pass to.
Anyway, I'll read it, okay? I'll take one for the team.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway.
It's a pretty cover, a pretty creepy cover.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? And I've never seen it. I haven't heard anybody talk about it. I literally went to Barnes & Noble and I was like, ooh, pretty purplish gray color. What is this? And I picked it up.
Book.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Rose, would you like to tell us about your next book?
Yes. So a couple of weeks ago, I went to a conference called Storymakers in Provo with a lot of the other queens, and
But not Valia.
I know. Next time.
Yeah.
And they had a little bookstore there, and I wanted to get one of Charlie's books, Charlie Holmberg, and I got The Will and the Wilds. Duh. I'm showing it.
I do want to read that one too.
I have read it, and I think that you would love it, Hannah.
Moving
Yeah?
it up the list.
Yeah.
Why?
Sorry, book
Rome-
lovers.
Do you want me to give you spoilers? I don't want to give spoilers. Just read it. You'll have to find out after you read it.
Okay, so yeah, so she had all of her books there, and I asked which one has the most romance, and everyone said this one. So I wanted some romance this summer, so that's why I got it, and I'm so excited.
It is a good one for romance. Maybe. You'll have to read it to find out.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Is it or isn't
Maybe.
it? It is, but is it?
So that's my
Wow.
second book.
No surprise zombies in it, though?
Not that I know of.
Well, there are magical creatures, so.
Well, there you
Well,
go.
magical creatures are fine as long as they're not zombies.
As long as
As long as
I
they're
don't
not
make the
zombies.
rules of what my anxiety does and doesn't like. I understand that it's very arbitrary, but zombies are just like a hard pass every time.
That's okay.
I'm always like, maybe this time they won't be that bad.
Maybe you should stop trying, okay? Just stop.
I know.
Trying.
I feel like, okay, there's all this stuff on Book Talk recently about trigger warnings and like content warnings and like who should be responsible for giving trigger warnings. And like partly I don't read a lot of dark romance, which is like a lot of what they were talking about. But I'm like, could we just normalize trigger warnings for zombies? Could we do that? Could you just let me know there's zombies somewhere in the blurb? I actually don't know if I read her blurb, to be fair. I just need like something in bold to be like, warning, zombies. They are this much scary in this percentage of the book. I don't know. I think that'd be fine. I'm not watching things with like child abuse or whatever. I just obviously
No
that should be a
zombies.
trigger warning. But just like let me know about the zombies. You might not think that it needs a warning, but for some of us.
Okay.
That's all.
All right.
So I'm gonna be reading.
On that note.
So everyone give trigger warnings for zombies from now
Thank
on.
you.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna be reading A Duel with the Vampire Lord because apparently vampires are fine.
I was going to say.
Werewolves, totally okay. It's just zombies.
It's just zombies.
It's just zombies.
That's because vampires are fantasy and zombies are sci-fi.
That could be.
AKA the
Ability
possibility
of it happening.
Like, yeah, it's sci-fi, which means they make like logical ways for it to actually happen in real life, and that is more scary than it's magic, which is not possible.
And it's the whole like the person you love and trust becoming not that person and then turning on you and trying to like make you like them. Like that's the like heart of why zombies bother me, and it's why people like them too, right? Because it's like a visceral fear. Anyway, Duel of the Vampire Lord by Elise Kova. It is her third Married to Magic book. I have to say, Elise Kova, sometimes I love her, and sometimes I'm like, but I really enjoyed the first two in this series. I do just like a quick, fun, standalone fantasy romance sometimes. And that is what the first two were, so I assume this will be awesome. She calls it a darkly reimagined Snow White.
Okay.
But I don't know. Her, like, I would not call any of her books retellings because they've been like super loosely inspired by, but it seems fun, and yeah, I don't know. It'll be good. She doesn't even have the cover up yet, but I know I'm going to buy it in print because I bought the other two in print because they have had gorgeous illustrated covers. I'm just checking to see if there's any zombies in the... No. Pretty solidly just vampires. So we're good.
Vampires, we're good.
We're checking for zombies.
Every book, Hannah's checking for zombies.
I'm like, I need to remember.
Well, if it makes you feel better, that book that Valia was telling about, the Harvest one, I already forgot the title for. It was for sure in a zombie category, so check the categories. That will help you find out if it's a zombie book or not.
Well, when you're a Barnes & Noble, they don't really have categories, okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm just saying.
I picked it up off of the fantasy young adult shelf, okay?
Sub.
So,
genre.
Wasn't my fault, okay? Anyway, continue.
That isn't your fault, but I mean, you'll be fine with it. It's totally cool.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
totally a Valia book.
It is, exactly, so. Okay.
Okay, is it my turn now?
Yes.
I've already read this book. I got permission. Valia told me I could still talk about it.
Are you going to reread it?
No, I'm not going to reread it. I just barely read it. So
she's just like going off the rails here.
It's okay.
I just wanted to talk about it, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Just chill. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll allow it.
She just told me to chill.
She did.
Okay, so this book, I was thinking it would be a very good summer read, particularly because it's very short and fast-paced and, like, so fast-paced, okay? Like, it's almost middle grade, except for it also... The first book kind of feels middle grade, but I can tell the other books are not going to feel middle grade so much, so we're still calling it YA.
It's okay, you guys say what it is first, and then I'll tell you why it seems middle grade.
Because she's 12 at the beginning of
No, there's a whole thing, though.
Okay, so anyway, it's called Alana, The First Adventure by Tamora Pierce.
A classic.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those that I never got into Tamora Pierce when I was a kid. You know, it's kind of one of those, I feel like a lot of readers, they read it when they were little, like teenagers, okay, or younger. And I never knew who she was. I was never aware of her until the last probably 5 years. And so everybody talks about it, but I was like, I don't like reading middle grade. Sorry, I just don't. So I was like, I'm not going to read it. But I read it because my brain was not working because I was not feeling well. And I was like, I need something simpler right now. And it was good. Okay. I really enjoyed it. And it was, like I said, super fast paced. You don't get the emotional development that you get in a lot of, and it's not that she doesn't have development. There is a lot of development. It's very well done. It's just you don't dwell on things as long as you would in most young adult books. So anyway, even like the fight scenes go fast and what she's thinking about goes fast. But it was good. It was just a really fun read, and I enjoyed it a lot, and I thought it would be a really awesome summer read for people just if you need something that you can only like half pay attention to. This is a good one.
Half pay attention to.
Well, I mean, I guess you would still need to pay attention to it all the way. But
you're not going to lose where you're at in it because it doesn't have like long prose sections talking about.
It's not complicated.
Trees.
Yeah, it's not complicated. And it is so interesting too that it can be so well done. Like there is such a skill to make something that simple still have all of like the character development, all of the physical development, all, you know, the internal plot, the external plot, you know, I mean, it's just, yeah, it is very, very well done. Like props to Tamora Pierce. She's got the skills, man. But it is like a simple read, you know, so
if this book came out, okay, start with, I loved these books when I was a kid. And by kid, I mean like 14, 15, I think I was when I read them. Maybe a little younger. I just remember which library it was I took them out of. But they came out in 1983. And in 1983, young adult as a genre did not exist.
Yeah, that is true.
She actually wrote in one of her subsequent books that was like, it's a beefier one. It's the Trickster Duology. It like says like thank you to J.K. Rowling for teaching publishers that kids will read longer books. she wasn't allowed to write longer than that. That is how long they said it's a kid's book. They are this length. You cannot sell a book bigger than this. Don't write a book bigger than this. So it's not that she wanted to tell, that she thought that, you know, teenagers couldn't read big books. She thought they could, but the publishers wouldn't let her. So then once like Harry Potter came out and Twilight came out, she started writing really bigger books because she was allowed to.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
it reads on that edge of middle grade to young adult because there were none of those guidelines then.
Yeah.
It was just she was trying to write something for young girls that had that sense of adventure and agency, and that wasn't as sexist, honestly, as a lot of the books, fantasy books for for kids were then.
Yeah.
So, because I think she's 18 by the end of the 4th book, and they're still that little.
Yeah, and yeah, that's absolutely true. The fact that we actually have a young adult genre the way that we have it today is amazing. I think we all need to just take a moment and be so grateful for that because
Grateful to authors like her who pushed for it.
Yeah, exactly. So it is, you can tell that it was written during that time where that genre didn't really exist, and yet she did everything that she could to kind of like still make it that genre, and she just did such a good job with it. And yeah, it is short, so it's super fast-paced, and it is simpler. But like I said, she did such a great job of still, like, fitting in the things that she needed to fit in. And anyway, it's good. Read it. Unless, unlike me, you already have. I feel like everybody already has.
I know, it's funny that I have read it before you read it, because that seems like something that you would read before I would.
Well, I never knew about it when I was younger. I read
Well,
Ella
I didn't read it as I was
Enchanted,
younger.
So...
I didn't read Elle Enchanted when I was little.
I didn't read that either.
Didn't? What?
I didn't either.
Any. Okay,
What?
listen,
Let's
let's
I
just...
don't think anyone's surprised by that.
Do you just call me a menace to society?
What? No.
I'm like, what?
You're a menace to society, Hannah.
I thought it was getting a little harsh.
Wow.
When did that one come out?
Oh my gosh.
97. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's one of those things where I'm slightly older than you.
Yeah, you were too...
That I
And
was
I'm
too old,
slightly older,
but not
than you.
old enough. Exactly. Once I got
Gross.
older, I started reading.
Okay, I have
kids'
to
books
say,
again.
though, that book came out, and when I was in school, Texas school system, guys, they're very intense.
Oh, yeah, they are.
You had to read, read a certain number of books every month, or I don't remember what time period, every semester, I don't know. And you'd have to take tests on the books, and you'd have to read books in your grade level. And that book came out, and I was just ahead of it in my grade level. It was too easy for me, and so I couldn't read it for school, and I was so mad.
Oh my goodness.
You're like, this was a waste of a book.
But I'm pretty sure
That's
my
so
mom
good.
bought it, and then I read it over the summer or something, because I read it pretty soon after it came out, and I loved it. So anyway.
No, I missed out on all of that.
I'm trying to remember if I've read it yet. Have I read it? I know I watched the movie, and then people are like, well, don't judge it on the movie. 'cause
Yeah, the
is
movie.
not
Yeah.
a thing.
No.
I've heard that too.
I should read it to my girls, though.
Yeah.
I'll put that on the list.
I have to say, it has such a good character arc. It's so good. Especially, like, knowing how character arcs work now as a writer. Like, obviously, at the time, I didn't know that that's why I liked it so much. But now, reading it, I'm like, it's so brilliantly done.
This is like a little masterclass in
Yeah.
character arcs while you're
Yeah.
reading. Okay, I'm putting on my list to read to my kids, although the list is long. I'm like forcing them to like all the books that I want to read that are in their age range, because I don't read middle grade on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start to now, though.
I don't either.
'cause
I don't like it.
I found
don't
some
either.
really good ones. But it's hard to find them. But just because my older girls are 10 and 12, and they still let me read aloud to them, which makes me like the happiest.
Aw.
So I'm kind of using this window to read all the middle grade that looks moderately fun, because you can't DNF when you're reading to your children. They don't let you. There was one that I honestly was like, I would not. I gave it 2 stars. Goodreads. I'm like, I'm impressed. I made it through this book, but my kids wouldn't let me stop. So I'm always looking for good ones. So, Elle Enchanted. Putting it on the list.
Sounds good. Okay. We're going to have to like race through the rest of this, or there's going to be an hour and a half episode. But the second book that I have.
No more tangents.
Yeah. No, the second book of my list is Together We Burn by Isabel Ibanez. I don't know how to say your last name. I'm sorry. But it's a standalone fantasy inspired by medieval Spain. And it's basically where an ancient city is plagued by dragons.
Ooh.
Okay.
Gotta love a dragon play.
I know. And it's about a girl who is a flamenco dancer and she must train to become a dragon hunter to save her family's legacy.
What?
And that's all I'm going to say about this. The cover is also
That
really
sounds
pretty.
great.
That sounds
And
amazing.
I am so excited about this because I also have it as an audiobook and I'm like I'm excited to get back into audiobooks and this feels like the most perfect book for that because I feel like it's going to be like romantic and fast-paced and dragons.
Wow. What's the title again?
Together We Burn.
Ooh.
And it's a standalone, which also made me very happy because I'm like, oh, I can just like be done with this story. One and done. Although, you know what? I have to say that I don't trust publishers when they say standalone anymore because
Yeah.
I read a standalone last year. Well, I DNF'd it because I did not like it. But it was supposed to be a standalone, and the second book is coming out this year. So,
Aha.
I know.
That's
I think sometimes
dumb.
if it's selling well, they're like, do you have another one?
yeah, and I don't like that.
I hate
anyway.
that so much. Like, I understand it from a business perspective, but like the story is so much better when you plan ahead.
Yes.
Okay. Like, you get a better story when you know it's going to be a standalone or not.
Yeah, basically. Anyway, moving on. Rose.
Well, just like, hurry up, guys, hurry up.
Okay, so Story Makers Conference, I went to the bookstore, and the other book that I got, The Druid by Jeff Wheeler. And Jeff Wheeler writes epic fantasy, and I know somebody, Kristen Dawson loves him also, but somebody else mentioned him recently on the podcast. I don't remember who. And I thought, man, I haven't read any of his. And so I got it. It's an arc, and I got it there, and I'm super excited to try it out and see what it's all about. I don't even know. An abandoned child becomes a singular inspiration to the mythology of Muirwood in an epic series. Okay, so I don't know. Abandoned child, epic fantasy. I'm going to see what it's all about.
Sounds
That
great.
sounds awesome.
Wait, I'm sorry, you went to the bookstore and you bought an arc?
No. So his stuff was there, but then he had like a box of arcs, and so I got the box, and then I got it from there, and then he signed it.
Oh, okay. I was so confused there for a second.
I know.
I was like, what? Don't buy arcs.
No. So so it's signed, and it looks pretty good.
That's fun.
That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you read high fantasy usually?
Yes, I love. That's my
Okay.
first love is high epic fantasy. That's like my favorite of all time. With romance, I have to have romance, but it doesn't have to be a romance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Hannah.
All right. My last book on my list is Aurora's End because I've been avoiding reading it since it came out because I'm scared of it. But sooner or later I have to read it because, I mean, I think I'm lucky that it's like a book 3 and it's not like super, super, super popular. So I haven't actually caught any spoilers. But I'm like, there's 2 characters that are like, are they dead or are they not dead? And I'm scared if I read it, I'll find out they're dead.
Oh.
They are. There you go. Now you can read it. No, I don't know. I haven't read it. I have no
My
idea.
heart
This is not a
stopped for like
spoiler.
a full second there.
It was the zombie. A zombie
was like,
killed him.
Yeah. They do
There are
actually
zombies
kind of
in
have
it.
zombies. Yeah.
They do have zombies.
I know. I read the first book.
Sci-fi.
I
I
read
like
the
plant
first book.
zombies.
That's funny.
Just let me, again, I have not read the book, okay? This was no spoiler. I have
read
no
book?
idea what happened. I read book 1. I've never read the
Don't
others.
do that to me. Terrible person.
Hannah just
Sorry.
passes out.
Sorry.
I know. I'm like, I can't take it.
I
I'm
thought you
sick.
would know I was joking. That's my bad,
I
guys.
did know
my
you
bad.
were joking, but like it took
still-
a second.
it
It
still
took like
hurt.
my heart just She's kidding. She's kidding. It's fine. She's kidding.
Oh my
She
god.
wouldn't do that to me.
I hate spoilers. I would never give away spoilers, so not on purpose. And I'm very good about it, so.
I did love book 1 and 2 though, even with plant zombies and even with are they dead or not, it's still super good. So I'll read it. I'll read it this summer. And if Sonya's listening, I promise I'll read Rhythm of War soon. My friend keeps harassing me. She's like, by the time you read it, I'll have forgotten everything. I'm like, but then you'll remember when we talk about it.
So is that series just a trilogy? There's just the 3 books?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, so my last book on the list is The Casquette Girls. And the author, her first name is spelled Alys. And so I don't know if it's pronounced Elise or Alice. But I'm going to say Elise. So Elise Arden is who it's written by. Actually, I have heard a lot about this book, but mostly my cousin, who reads my books because she's the best, she keeps telling me to read it, and I never have. So sorry. So I'm like, I got to read this so that we can talk about it. She gave me a recommendation a while ago to read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, by Suzanne Collins. That's the prequel to The Hunger Games. And I read that, I think, last summer, maybe the fall. I don't remember. Who knows? Oh, it was not recently. So anyway, and it was good. And I'm like, I got to read these books that my cousin keeps telling me about. So anyway, this one she's been telling me about for a long time, The Casket Girls.
What do you
tell me if it's
like
good,
a
'cause
casket?
That's been on my radar too.
What kind of casket? Like for dead bodies?
No,
It's- It's not casket, it's casquette. It's Casquette.
Oh.
I believe it's New Orleans is the setting. Okay, so I don't like reading blurbs. I like going into a book completely surprised. I don't want to know anything. So, I don't know that much about it. I just know. But I do think it's something with, I believe it's present day in New Orleans. And there's magic, I'm pretty sure. So that's all you need to know.
I'm reading the blurb for you right now, and you are correct, but I won't tell you anything else if you don't want to know.
Okay, good. Thank you. I don't want to know anything else.
Oh, that's great.
It's current as in it came out in 2015, and it was current then.
Yeah,
New Orleans.
okay. But it's contemporary. It's not like...
Yes.
It's not my favorite high fantasy, but I bet I will still like it.
Sounds good. I don't think I've even heard of that book, so
Oh.
Me either.
there's that. Okay, good. It's not just me. Also, I've never seen it spelled like that before, so that's just me not
I think
knowing
it's their
English
last
words.
name or something.
It's got to be a name.
It's not their last
okay.
name.
Oh.
not?
Or
Oh.
the name of a house. I don't know.
Or a street? Is it the name of a street?
I think it's a name, though. I don't think it's... Yeah, it's not casket. I think it's like a name of something.
Interesting.
Is like a soft flat hat.
What?
I'm looking
That's
it
what a
up.
casket
I'm like,
is.
yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna be disappointed if that's what it is. I'm just kidding. I won't be.
It's a book about hats. It's fine.
It's like a cap, like a baseball cap,
Huh. Interesting.
something. I don't know. She's not wearing a hat on the cover. You tell us
There you go. After I read
And
it.
I am curious now.
if we have any French listeners, we're sorry.
Yeah, sorry. We don't know words. But anyway, so it was really funny to me when I was making this list that I don't have any thrillers on this list for me because that's all I read during the summer. So I'm really just not reading thrillers. But the last book that I picked is like the closest to it because it's like a murder mystery.
Ooh.
And it's The Murder of Mr. Wickham by Claudia Gray. And yeah, so
Mr. Wickham.
uh-huh.
Mr. Wickham.
So it just came out.
He needs a good murdering, let's
Yeah,
be
there
real.
you
With
go.
the candlestick in
Maybe,
the
I don't
library?
know. Okay.
No.
Oh, Mr.
Possibly.
I know.
She's trying to think. No, but it's Mr. Knightley and Emma are throwing a party at their estate, and a bunch of other Jane Austen characters show up, and then Mr. Wickham shows up, and he's like really bad, and then he gets murdered, and so then we have Catherine and Henry's daughter and Darcy's eldest son teaming up together to solve the case.
Ooh.
So Claudia Gray was like, I'm writing something completely different.
Yeah, they
Hope
had to
you all like
have
this.
Mr. Darcy's son and whoever the other person, because you know that if it was Darcy and Lizzie there, they would not be trying to solve the murder. They'd be like, yay! Let's kill him. Like, we did it. We'll give you candy.
Let's go read some books.
I'm just kidding.
See you later.
And we're out. No. Yeah, and like the way they described that Darcy's eldest son is like he would give like his dad the run for his money when it comes on like propriety or whatever. So he's like supposed to be extra stoic, and then the daughter's supposed to be like extra, I don't know, the opposite
Proud.
of him. Yeah, and so it's like I'm
No,
curious, not proud, but yeah.
Prejudice.
Yeah, there you go.
Dang it.
Which?
But anyway, it's supposed to have like the feels of the whole thing, and like also murder mystery of a character that everybody hates. So, you know, win-win.
Poor what's her face though. Would she be better off without a husband? Lydia.
Yes.
That's her name.
Yes.
That's her
100% yes. Sorry.
All right.
Just
maybe
anyway.
they've already
you're probably
gotten
right.
divorced by then.
Yeah.
She still gets his money, right? So yeah.
Ah,
He
that's
doesn't
true.
have any money, okay? He made like
Well,
a
yeah,
huge,
I guess he
big
doesn't have
thing.
money either.
Yeah. That's, yeah, anyway.
Maybe
That's
she
what
can
I'm
find a new
saying
husband.
though, because at least if he's alive, he can make money, and if he's dead,
I
what
don't
does she
know.
do then?
Poor Lydia.
She's happy.
Lydia's
She's
fine.
happy that he's dead. She's excited.
She's
She's the one who
mentioned.
killed him.
What about
No.
money, you guys? This is the whole point of Pride and Prejudice, is they need money. Does Lydia deserve a happy life?
Okay, so how about I
Yes,
read
she
it,
does.
and I will let
You
you know.
A little bit. Like, not the
Like,
happiest
does she
life.
deserve happiness? She was only like, what? Is she like 14 or 15?
Yeah, she was
in the
15,
book?
I think.
I believe she could grow up to be a reasonable human still.
Maybe
A
she gets
reasonable
remarried to a
human.
better. Maybe she learned her lesson after Wickham, and then she gets to get remarried to a reasonable human
Let's
being.
believe that.
Yeah.
We need a book about Lydia. We don't
The
care
end.
about
There. We wrote the book already.
to Lydia.
So do I not read this then? Am I good then?
Please read it and tell us
Read
if
it.
Lydia's mentioned.
Yeah, see
wanna know about
if it has a better ending than what we came up with.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. But yeah,
better.
I'm excited to read it, I guess. Now, I don't know. No. But it's by Claudia Gray,
know-
whose books I really like. So I'm
Yeah, she's
curious
lovely.
to see.
Oh, Claudia Gray?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was saying. It's very
Oh.
like off.
Doesn't she usually
brand for
write
her.
like sci-fi? That's interesting.
I feel like she's done everything at this point.
Oh, maybe I only knew about her sci-fi ones.
But yeah, that's on my list, and I have all of these books. So that's like, no, I'm just kidding. I don't have my first one. I didn't buy it. I need to go back and buy it. I love it. This whole conversation and just how long it was.
I have to say that I was happy when I saw who was going to be on because I didn't think that me and Kay have been on a podcast together in months.
Yeah, long
It's been a
while.
really long time. We used to always be on together because we were
Yeah.
in groups and then we weren't. So Kay, I missed you.
Did you miss me? Hello.
I don't think I've talked to you recently though.
We were.
And
So at least in the fall. Kay, Rose, I love you too.
Thank you.
Obviously. I think it's been like a year since me and Kay have been on together though.
A year?
yeah.
It
Go
has
back
not
and
been
see.
that long.
It's been
at
decades.
least a day, so
Oh my goodness. Anyway, they see me all the time, so they don't really care about me. Don't worry
Obviously,
about
we would
it.
care about you if I wasn't on a podcast with Valia for like a year. I would also be sad that doesn't happen.
But you
After
see me all the time.
Storymakers, a bunch of us were able to go to Storymakers, and it was awesome. And then we have like our weekly mastermind meetings together, and Valia was not there. I can't remember why. Your
So I had no
wasn't working.
internet.
Anyway, yeah. And excuse me, I was very sad. Okay,
Yeah, you
Is
were the only
everybody
one.
sad?
It was great. Thank you.
I was sad.
Whatever. Everyone
I
was
was
sad
sad.
with me.
No, but I listened to that thing. You're the only one who said anything. So
Actually,
thank
I
you.
don't.
It's
I
come
actually,
out that Kay is Valia's only true friend.
I actually don't think that's true because I think I brought it up a couple times, and the first time was before we started recording. And
Oh, that doesn't
definitely
count.
I was not the only one who was sad. So
Anyway, it's
Anyway.
fine. It's fine. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm glad we got to get together because it is Memorial Day, so everybody has stuff going on today. I'm glad we still got to record. I do have to say something though. The next
okay.
episode.
Mom has something to
I
say.
do have
guys.
something to say.
Are we scared? I'm scared.
Don't be scared.
Are we in trouble?
I just want you to know that this is the last episode of season 2. Next episode starts
Oh.
season 3, so I'm excited. We'll be doing, the same type of episodes, but maybe even a little more of like the tropey episodes, a little bit more of book club. And if you guys are on Patreon, if you're not, you should be, because we're having like special stuff for that, so you guys can get to see our faces and spend more time with us and talk to us directly. So definitely check out the links that I leave down below. I'll have a bookshop page as well, so you guys can check out these books. If you want to buy them and read them with us, you can during the summer. So, and then go to our Patreon so we can talk about them. It's a whole thing, okay? Yeah, definitely let us know what you're reading this summer in case, you want to add to our TBRs. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Reading Queens Pod, and then also please give us a follow on your favorite podcast platform and leave a star rating or a review, and then tell everybody to come hang out with us, because clearly we have the best time. So
yes, we do.
But yeah, that is all for us.
Bye.